Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. Last week I was in Albania, first time I've ever been to that nation. I was in a city of Golem, and there I was attending the European Religious Liberty Forum. This is a gathering of people from different organizations who are all working to preserve the freedom, not just of Christians, but people of all religions, to be able to believe and practice their faith without persecution or discrimination. So there were lawyers in the room, there were people from different Christian organizations, there were political lobbyists, there was pastors like myself and people from evangelical alliances in different nations. And really was a great time of people committed to preserving the freedom of all religions. But when we have freedom of all religions, we have freedom to preach the gospel. And I firmly believe that the gospel, if we truly believe in the truth of the gospel, we should seek the freedom of all religions to be allowed to practice. Because you know what? Whenever you have freedom to declare the truth, I believe that the truth can stand on its own 2 feet. We don't need to try to protect Christianity by discriminating against other religions, for example. Well, it was highly significant that we were in Albania and that we were in this place, Golem, because just down the coast from there is another city of Durrës. And there we were able to have a look around the town, and we were able to pray around the town as well. And Durrës was a place where we know the Apostle Paul preached, because in Romans chapter 15 and verse 19, Paul says that he preached all the way from Jerusalem to Illyricum, which was a city in southern in Albania. And we know that Titus traveled with them, but Titus then traveled on to Dalmatia. And looking at the roads and the maps of the time, that would have meant that the place where Paul and Titus parted would have been in Durrës. And I was able to stand at the spot where that parting of the ways would have taken place, because it was the end of the Egnatian Way, the Roman road that Paul would have traveled along. And we know that from in the first century, only maybe 20 years after the crucifixion of Christ, we know that the gospel was preached there and Christians were witnessing in this place that is now Durrës. But it's also known for another reason. It was in Durrës in 1967 that Albania was officially declared to be an atheist nation. Now, I know that under communism there were other countries that pursued atheist policies and discriminated against religion, but they stopped short of actually declaring themselves to be an atheist nation. And the first nation in the world ever to declare, "We believe there is no God," was Albania. And that took place in this city of Durrës, where I was. I am delighted to report that today there are Christian churches in that city. There are Christian ministries operating there. There's a YWAM center there, and the gospel is being preached. And here's the wonderful thing. We had a little tour of the city, and there's some actually people from one of the churches in Albania that they have set up what's going to be the first open-top bus tour ever in Albania. And we were the first people to ride on the first ever open-top bus in Albania. In fact, they did it as a special treat for us. The paint wasn't even dry on some of the fittings on the bus. And as we were traveling through the street, it created quite a stir, because people in that country have never seen an open-top bus operating like that before. You know, we're supposed to be the tourists taking photographs. People were taking photographs of us. And they had the commentary and telling you all about the sights that you're seeing in the ancient amphitheater and everything else. And the background to the music of it all was Oceans, the Hillsong song that was playing in the background. And, it was just wonderful to be able to be traveling around this city where it was declared that the first ever atheist state had been set up, listening to worship music with other Christians, hearing what God was doing in that city. I want to tell you that man can declare that there is no God, but God will still declare that he loves man. God will still make him manifest even in the places where he is rejected. And I pray that today, I pray that anyone that maybe catches hold of this message or hears it on radio, I just pray that God will, for you, reveal himself as the God who is there, and the God overcomes all of our hardness of heart and rejection in Jesus' name. God bless you today. Join us again next time for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.